What up, everybody? Darius Daniels, and I'm back with the fourth thing I would tell my daughter. Let's go. Well, listen, hey, here is the fourth thing I would tell my daughter if I had one. It is very simple. It can be summarized in this one statement. Here it is. You might like him later. You might like him later. Now, what do I mean by that? You know, there are seasons in a person's life where things that they find attractive in that season, they find unattractive in another season. Or there are traits and attributes that they find unattractive in one season and they find attractive in another. And I'm gonna tell you something. I want the sisters to lean into me right here. Now, this is just my observation. This is anecdotal. Of course, no one can speak specifically to everyone. Of course, what I'm about to say is a generalization, but it is a generalization that's been informed by my experience as a person who has spent 2 decades serving people. So I've got a fairly large sample size that's informing what I'm about to share. And that is this. This is what I found. I found specifically with sisters that certain traits that they may have found corny in one season actually give them comfort in another season. I'm just telling you. I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. That there are some traits that may have been seen as corny in one season that actually give comfort in another season. Darius, what are you saying? I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I would tell my daughter. And I would tell her, hey, listen, you might like him later. You see, responsible isn't necessarily attractive in high school. It might not be responsible, might not be attractive when you're 24. But responsible is attractive when you're 42. And what I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Now, let me tell you what I'm not saying. I am not saying that you should ignore what you find attractive. I think part of what you find attractive is part of your uniqueness as an individual. Like 2 women can look at the same person and one find them attractive and another not find them attractive. This is what I've seen. I've seen diversity in the kinds of things that women actually find attractive. There are some women where the physical is incredibly important. The aesthetics is incredibly important. The look is important. The height is important. The skin complexion is important. Well, I've seen others where it is not that it doesn't matter, but those things are just not as important. It's the personality. It's, can the person make me laugh? Does the person make me smile? Does the person make me feel safe? So I've seen diversity in all sorts of attractions. And so I'm not trying to judge anyone's attraction. And I'm not trying to say that certain types of attractions are more moral or have higher levels of virtue than another. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I'm saying is this. I've seen it so many times. The things that you find that women find corny in one season, they are comforted by, and in another, the things they were looking over when it came to men in high school and college become the things that they are looking for in later seasons in life. And I think, let me go back to what I was about to say here. You know, the guy in high school, the guy in college that's responsible, that's going to class, that's getting his books, that's managing his money, that's not necessarily out, isn't the guy that a lot of sisters found attractive. They weren't knocking down his door. They weren't giggling, talking about him. It was the guy that was outgoing and gregarious and not necessarily handling his business, giving a good time. But sisters lock that brother down and then expect that brother to become a hybrid when he gets older of the old him that's still gregarious and outgoing and things of that particular nature. But he's supposed to be a hybrid of him matched with the responsibility that's found in another guy. Now listen, I'm not saying that the two can't be in one. My question, my question is, how often have you found that? Now, this is probably what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, I'm saying settle. And of course I'm not saying settle. I would never tell my daughter to settle. What I would say is you have a right to be attracted to whatever you're attracted to. I would tell my daughter that. And part of what you find attractive is an indication of your uniqueness and how you've been wired. So don't feel bad about that. Don't try to dismiss that. But I need you to ask yourself, this is what I would tell my daughter, what's driving that attraction? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So if my daughter's like, PD, if she was like, Dad, I like him a little, I'd be like, okay, hey, cool. Go for that. And are there exceptions where you might have that and someone who's responsible and moral and leading well? Yeah, you might. But you also got to know what come with that, because it might not. So many times I've seen this happen, and I would tell my daughter, I'd be like, listen, you got a right to be attracted to whoever you're attracted to, but let's look at what's driving that attraction. Because if you pass on him now, you might like him later. Because the things you often look over in one season are things you might be looking for in another. See, I think when we start painting pictures of reality like this, some people can confuse, and I mentioned this earlier, but I just feel like I need to say this again. Some people can confuse that with me saying, ignore your standards. I'm not saying ignore your standards at all. I'm just saying there's a difference between standards and preferences, and there are certain things in certain seasons that you may call a standard that you realize in another season that was actually a preference. It's okay to be attracted to whoever you're attracted to. You just got to ask yourself, what part of me is driving that attraction? Is the best version of me attracted to them, or is the worst version of me attracted to them, right? Because here's something that I've also seen happen. I've seen people have genuine and authentic attraction with each other. So I've seen a woman be super into a man, but this is what happens. The man doesn't change. He is, but then the woman does. And as she changes, the things that she found attractive in one season, she doesn't find attractive in another season, because in the season that they got together, she wasn't the best version of herself. So the lower version of herself was attracted to someone that she made a long-term commitment with. And then she gets in the middle of that relationship and she becomes a better version of herself. And the better version of herself now is not as attracted to or interested in some of the things the lower version of herself was. So I would tell my daughter, like whoever you want to like. But you might like him later. So if you're gonna, so I would tell her, I would say, I want you, the current you, to do the future you a favor. And I want the current you to have a conversation with the future you. And that's the future you. Is she gonna be mad at the current you for passing that up? And if the future you is not gonna be upset with the current you of passing that up, let it go. But if not, don't let the inferior version of you cause you to look over somebody that might be the best for you. That is what I would tell my daughter.